Hey guys, what is up? Trinity here. Okay, let's get right into it. So, 2 months ago, Broadway World posted on their Instagram account about the newly appointed dance coordinator for the Kennedy Center. And this post basically said how Stephen Nakagawa made a comment about the leftist ideologies in ballet and how basically he's concerned about what's happening in the world of ballet concerning some of those ideologies and just how, it's kind of taking a turn for the worse. I comment and I ask, hey, can anyone, tell me what's wrong with what he said? And the internet did what the internet does. People literally came for me. I say this as a literal fact. I was bullied, okay? And again, I do not say this as a victim. People came for me um, despite my very thorough responses to every single person. Yes, every single person who commented to me, despite my very thorough responses, which were very intellectual, by the way, completely rooted in not just passion, knowledge, and competence, but also just observations that I've made within the craft for as long as I have been training, enjoying, and also being a professional within the field of dance. People were just like not having it. They were like, how are you going to make these claims and you're not giving us full examples? And to be clear, one of the ideologies that I mentioned, just to sort of tack on to whatever Stephen's thought process was the fact of men being given women's roles in ballet companies. That was one of the things I mentioned. I also mentioned that leftist ideologies within the sphere of ballet has been showing up, in professional dance in particular, has been showing up in different ways to me since I noticed it since the year 2020. Okay, so men and women's roles in ballet. And people are just coming for me. Give us an example. No, you can't just say that. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not giving us any examples. And I told everyone that I did not want to name the particular companies that I had in mind at that time while I was slapboxing everyone on the internet. And people didn't like that response, and I was essentially bullied into saying something. But I'm like, I'm not going to be bullied. And I went on to tell people, if you want to see what I'm talking about, it literally just takes a quick browsing. It literally just takes a quick, research. And then, I also started thinking to myself, for these people to just be so gung ho and so ready to fight me on the internet, I'm like, well, do you guys really care about dance? Are these people who are really connected to the craft, the art form, the advancement of the field, or are these just people who just like to, you know, be combative? And out of all of the comments, guys, there were so many comments under my one comment. I think at this point it's probably like over 1,000. Maybe like two or three people, sort of sided with what I was saying. But yeah, the majority of the people were just coming for me. I'm telling you, that day I got called a bigot. I was called a Karen. I got accused of being a bot more than once. People were taking jabs at my career, my training, who I am as a dancer. They threw the DEI jokes in there and all of that stuff. People even went so far as to come over to my personal page and literally start bullying me. I'm like, it was incessant. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And then let's fast forward up to 2 weeks ago. There was a post that Dance Magazine reposted, and I forget who else collaborated with it, but they were essentially talking about the same thing, sort of like morphing gender and dance. And, they were just giving steps of how to accommodate people in the ballet studio regarding that. And I made a comment and I simply asked, how is this advancing the art and craft and training of ballet? And the internet did what the internet does. People were coming for my competence. People were going back to telling me about King Louis the 15th. I'm like, yeah, babe, I know all that. Apollo's angels down. They were just in a whole bunch of things. And one of the things I explained even to people who were just, so adamant that this certain inclusion as it relates to gender roles in ballet specifically, and this diversification, this is what moves the art form forward. But I hold a belief, and I always have, because I've been writing about this and responding to platforms like Dance Magazine and Point Magazine since like 2023. Okay. Also coining it the war on women in ballet. I'm just like, that is not how you sustain a foundation. If you're going to have standards and you're going to have a foundation, you have to keep the things that matter and you build on that. You can't try to deteriorate something, make the thing about everything else but the thing, and then think that the thing is going to somehow evolve and somehow make it more, you know, uh, relevant. Okay, this is not it. And even from there, one person found the time to go all the way to my Substack post and sending me long comments. And I was just essentially saying like, hey, I understand what you're saying, but you're wrong. And I also described this thing that I've been seeing specifically with women in ballet companies, men in ballet companies, and men being given women's roles, and men being able to like put on the point shoes and like play with the girls' roles, and things of that nature, as a slow leak. Okay. Now let's rewind to one of those comments that I made on the first post, right? And I said I did not want to name any of the companies at that time. One person actually did name one of the companies, and I just let her do it. I'm like, yeah, girl, go for it. Like, what I'm saying? Fast forward to today, I didn't go looking for anything, but I saw from the time I saw the post, Pacific Northwest Ballet, which is one of the companies I declined to mention, has named new soloists and a new principal for their company. I believe it was principals too. But specifically in the post for soloists, there is a male that has promotion along with two other females and one other male. The first male on the carousel slide looks like, a male dancer. He's in flats, his shirt is off, The second one is the male who's in a leotard, no tights, and point shoes. And then the next two slides are the two women who are dressed and presenting as women, because that's what they are, on those slides. How well did the slapbox contest that happened over on Instagram age? I simply asked two questions. I simply gave thorough, very knowledgeable, kind advice advocating for this art and this craft that I love and I have loved for years, before I can even fully articulate exactly what it means to me. Before I even picked up a book that can inform even greater knowledge in depth. P&B has done it. What do we have to say now?